Here we are, Craigmore, Nova Scotia, Intermediate B. I had a pretty good start here, coming into this first turn on the left, sitting like 6th or 7th, kind of right beside on the right, kind of hanging as tight as I can to the guy in front of me. First time I've ever been at this track, so I'm just trying to get a sighting lap in because I have really no idea what to expect. I've been told it's got quite a few hills, but we'll find out. Guy loses on the soft sand here, and I try to go around him on the left here, but he gets her going, and then the guy cuts on the right. So I think now I'm sitting in about 7th position, I guess. So the first section's kind of these, higher speed switchbacks. Kind of looks like an old motocross type style track. A couple pit berms and whatnot. Looks like Buddy overshot that corner. I tried to come up on the left, but it was so dusty, and I just let out of it. Decided to come up through here, but we hopped down in this ditch, and it's a little muddy, and as the race goes on it gets worse. Definitely holds up a few people. You see he kind of struggled there for a second. Didn't get some nice roost from him, so but that's all part of the game, I guess. So certainly an interesting little route there to divert you off the road. Kind of scoot up the road here, and then there's a sharp left with steep incline. It's hard to tell on the GoPro, but certainly being smooth up there was important. We have a log here coming up. Kind of chucks you. If you hit it good, it's pretty smooth, and you can get a good little jump off of it. But I did have the rear bucking a few times later on in the race. Probably just my body position, just being tired after an hour and a half. Probably just getting a little sloppy. But a lot of hill elevation changes here, and just trying to, kind of first lap out, just scouting it out, kind of try to figure out where the rough spots are, where maybe the good lines are. But really right now I'm just trying to kind of maintain a decent position. There was 30 bikes that started in this Intermediate B race here for round 3, so a fairly large class. So certainly I know that I'm kind of more in the front of the pack, which is helpful. Trying to come down this hill, and this guy kind of took a right there a little sharper, and he ended up getting the pass on the guy in front of me, which worked out really well for him. Kind of coming down this hill, it's downhill, kind of off camber a bit, a lot of rocks and roots, pretty rough. You gotta stand and absorb that. Definitely a challenging spot as the race went on and you got fatigued. Little bridge there, and you come up this hill. And as the race went on, certainly my pace was able to pick up a little bit, but it's kind of that balance of maintaining for an endurance race. This race was an hour and a half. Oh, guy lost it there on that corner there. I think he ended up doing fairly well. I don't know if that's the guy that got second place or not, but anyway, he must have just had a little mess up there, and early on in the race, it's certainly the first lap out, so lots of time. There's a loose spot there. Geez, I remember that one the first lap through, and I just kind of had the bars turned too tight, and she really bucked me. But I'm just getting used to this flowy section through here, and as the race went on, I definitely was able to kind of pick up the pace through there, be a little more smooth. There's that left-hand turn. That guy that had dropped the bike on the corner, he got it going, and as you can tell, he got by me pretty cleanly. I did hear him behind me revving, so I was like, well, I'll just take the outside line, get an opportunity to get by me. But coming down through here, I think Buddy must have overshot the corner or something there. Kind of coming downhill up there a bit. The GoPro doesn't pick it up great, but a couple switchback turns here, just really crucial. This guy lets him go by. I don't know if he knew I was there and kind of started to come around, but I was beside him by that point, so I just decided to take the pass anyway. So kind of coming into the tail end of the first lap here. Looks like Buddy might have went off there. There was a little bit of mud there. He lost the front of a bit, but then we kind of come up through and we go through the checkpoint here at the moment. So certainly getting the first lap in was helpful. Just kind of trying to get that arm pump under the control, and my breathing, really focus on that. A little bit of a jump there, and then the berm here. So it's kind of a faster section through here, so I definitely need to work on going faster. I certainly seem to maintain in third gear. I wasn't really pushing to accelerate, so definitely there is room for improvement next time. But certainly for the first time out, I'm just my main goal was to finish the race, and yeah, so we're just kind of coming back down through into that greasy ditch there, and you can see it's starting to get a little more rutted out. Not too bad. Looks like maybe somebody's having a little bit of trouble. There's a couple rocks there you gotta navigate around them, fairly clean there. I'm kind of coming up this hill from the road there, and buddy lets me go by, and I almost went down over. There's not much of a lip there, and I kind of caught myself, but anyway, I was able to keep it back on the track, but she was a bit tight there to go around, so it wasn't really ideal, but we made it work. And kind of fairly rough uphill here, but just trying to, you know, position my weight well on the bike, get it go far enough forward to try to use the momentum here. Another section that was uphill, I was using third earlier on, and I end up using the clutch a bit more just to kind of feather that, so I kind of played around with that hill with between second and third gear, but there's that little loose spot there. It didn't throw me quite as bad on the second lap here, but certainly I still noticed the bars twisted there. Tried to take the inside line here, but she got a little side-by-side there, but just not enough room, and Buddy was sticking it to me. He was holding his line, and the proper thing, and he does let me go by here right now, so trying to flow back down. We're kind of coming into the tail end of the track here. It kind of comes down some downhills, sweeps, and a jump there. Fun little one. It bucked me sideways a couple times, so probably once again the fatigue thing. But he gets caught up in the roots here, and I'm like, which way am I going to go? And he roosts me a bit, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. And of course I threw it in the tree there, but starter kind of free spun there for a second, and I could hear him get it going, but I luckily got mine going before him, so I did get by him at least. Coming back through the checkpoint, looks like a bit over an hour maybe left, so about a half an hour into the race, I guess. Luckily, it's hard to tell when I came through to see that on the screen. Trying to pick up the pace here. There's a little bit of a jump there, hard to tell, but probably just a bit of air, so just trying to find some spots where I can kind of relax but pick up a little bit of speed just to maintain. You can kind of see the riders coming up the other way, so it's an opportunity to kind of look back. There was very few spots on this track that I found that you could look back to see where people were behind you, so without doing a full turning your head around, which isn't really ideal. It's a tight technical track, so you kind of want to keep your eyes forward. Lets me by, super helpful, and kind of coming through here. There's this little hill there, and it goes pretty much from now on. You're climbing for quite a little ways, and it kind of cuts back and forth on itself. It's a fun little section. Seems like it's hard to tell on the GoPro, but it's quite steep, as you can see the trees kind of on the angle, but fun little flowy section through here. But right here there's some roots and rocks, and a couple times it threw me pretty good. That one I don't think was the worst one of the race, but a couple times it bucked me pretty good, so some traction's getting pretty good here. There's a rut kind of getting grooved in a bit now. We're a couple laps in here now. I think this is our third lap. So things are starting to kind of seed in a little bit, which is helpful. You can kind of get in that groove a little bit, carry a bit more speed, and trying to really work on my body position. The last race that we had at South Alton, I did a lot of standing, and I ended up getting really fatigued from that, and probably a lot of it had to do with my body position when I was standing. So I've been trying to kind of play around with a couple different positions and watching some videos to try to learn a little better technique. Those roots there, they don't look like much, but definitely a lot of people struggled on that. And then we're coming back down after kind of what I'd say the hill climb, and it was a pretty fast section here. Deceiving though. tight it is, but kind of on a side hill and a fun little flowy section. A lot of loose rock, some roots, but not enough to really slow you down too much, but enough when you pick the pace up. It was a little loose at times. And kind of after coming up that hill, we just go back down, and we're kind of pretty much going downhill for the most of this next section back down to the start finish. So quite a bit of elevation change, more than I'm used to, which is a fun dynamic that added to the race. You know, a lot of switchbacks and hills, and really enjoyed the track. You know, we lucked out really well. It was calling for rain today at the race, and luckily it hadn't started raining yet, so we were just kind of happy that we weren't running in the rain yet. Came up with my buddy Nick. He's running in this class, 201. He ended up getting a few bikes behind me at the start, and I don't think he's too far behind me at this point in time. Certainly, I tried this other line here, the tight one, and it worked out fairly well there. It was fairly smooth little. I don't know if it's actually any faster or not, but I did take that for the rest of the time. Here, coming down that rocky, rooty section, it's kind of off camber downhill, and it's more or less a section I just wanted to get through. Come across the bridge here. So I picked the pace up. You can kind of get a little bit of air coming off that bridge, but actually I must not have done a lot of footage for the next lap. Must have been by myself, but coming down that little rock spot almost the same as it was a few minutes ago, and buddy there had some struggles. Got by him now. Yeah, probably fourth or fifth lap in maybe at this point. Lap times were around 9 minutes and 30 seconds. I think my fastest was a 9:23. That was my third or fourth lap. And then I had quite a few 9:32s. Had several actually 9:32s, and then some slower ones here and there. My last lap ended up being almost. It was only 2 seconds slower than my fastest. So overall, fairly consistent. This lap traffic, I think, here at this point lets me go by. Coming up that rooty section, another guy seems to have struggled, but was able to get by him fairly smooth and cleanly. A lot better than the other one where I threw it in the tree. So just trying to focus getting around people without causing myself added stress. Certainly trying to conserve that energy is a big priority for me during this race. Just focusing more on line, body position, and looking ahead, and coming down some of these switchbacks once we get to the top here. It's up that tree a little bit, not enough to really cause any issue, but enough to let me know that I'm probably starting to get a little tired. And again, you can kind of see the bike. I'm kind of half sitting at this point in time, trying to weight that outside peg just to keep some traction. Give buddy a little blip with some lap traffic, just wanted to make sure. Looks like somebody lost her there, not a great spot, just a bit of a drop there with a fairly big stump that's been cut off. Uphill switchbacks here coming back down the hill. There was still some ups and downs as we were coming back down, but kind of as the day went on, I did enjoy this section. Fairly flowy and smooth, so it could run pretty good. These switchbacks here, it's hard to tell, but you could kind of lock the rear up ever so slightly and kind of slide it around a little bit. It was kind of fun. I had it work out a few times for me. Just trying to get past this guy. There was a couple groups that were running intermediate B. I think maybe junior, some sportsmen maybe. I think there's 3 classes running, so at this point in the game, we're kind of halfway through the race, not sure who's in what class at this point, so I'm just trying to do my own thing, just really focusing on being smooth, and if I can get by the person in front of me cleanly, and just kind of getting used to being behind people and trying to look at ways to get past them on the tight track. This guy lets me go by here. quite a little traffic jam here. So many stalls get caught up. I take the right lane, get past that guy that I had been following for a little while. So that worked out to my advantage, just kind of looking for different avenues, and saw that other guy in front of me who went around on the right. So it lets me pass. I think he was some lap traffic as well. So. Flowing through this side hill of a quick section. This is kind of fun, but there's a sharp left and a right here, so I grooved out rock, so had to be smooth through there, and a little bit of a jump there down. Trying to focus on just keeping my pace. Really, I knew that if I could be consistent, that would be key. Really, I didn't have any major goals at this stage of my hair scramble kind of escapade. Oh, buddy drops through there. It's kind of it's hard to tell, but it's pretty steep. It's on an off camber, and be a crappy spot to stall and try to push it. But anyway, I was able to get by him there. Had to feather the clutch a little bit, but take the inside line again, coming down in that rough, rocky section. It was a better line, but it seemed like I was all over the place there. I just couldn't really seem to hit the exact line. I cut that, there was a little shortcut, if you want to say, just a few feet before. I was able to get by that guy. It might have been lap traffic anyways at this point, but going back down that ditch, you can kind of see it grooves out. It kind of chucked me a little odd there, so I knew, you know, getting the tail end of the race here, that, you know, that rut is going to keep getting worse each lap, so something I needed to really kind of focus on, being smooth and try to pick a line and be loose on the bars. And coming down here on that root section, and oh, I dropped her. I think that root caught me. I don't know if he thought maybe I crashed there before beside him or not, but luckily it was the first time I'd fallen over this race. But I did clip my right shoulder into that tree pretty good. It caught me, which was great, and I was able to get the bike going pretty quick after that. But the last race at South Alton, I did get cleaned off the bike pretty good with the tree on my right shoulder, so I was a little nervous how it was going to feel. It's been a little tender since that last race in South Alton, but you know, it didn't really hurt too bad. So like you know, I think it's just going to be more tender than anything. And certainly today, the day after the race here, it's on the Sunday when I'm kind of doing my editing here. So we're coming down through here. We're on our second last lap here. You can see he lost it just a bit there on that corner, and I start to catch up a little bit. But anyway, this is the last lap now. That guy in front of me, I don't know which class he was. I think he was in the position ahead of me in Intermediate B, so at least I thought I was behind him. And so I'm just pushing it pretty good, but once we get through here, he pulls over and he lets me go by, and then I end up holding that for the rest of the race. So that's Craigmore 2023. Looking forward to next year.